previously on Hunter x Hunter. Gon left his village to walk in his father's footsteps. While trying to pass the Hunter exams, he meets Leorio, Kurapika, and Killua. After passing the third exam phase, the group arrives at the fourth phase location, your favorite phase from that arc, the badge phase. They must steal their opponent's badges. Gon managed to steal a badge from the Hisoka, but at what cost? In the end, not only did Hisoka take the badge back, but also Gon's dignity. He threw it back to the young lad, telling him to keep it until he becomes stronger so one day he can fight him. The story continues, Killua calling out Amori, who's been stalking him for a long time, to show himself, since he won't give an opening attack. However, Amori remains still and continues to hide, because his plan is to attack Killua while he is asleep. Impatient, Killua decides to come over to him and frightening Amori. Suddenly, Amori and Yumori appear to see if their youngest brother has finished taking the badge. Upon seeing that Amori hasn't beaten up Killua yet, they yell at him and force him to do it. Afterward, Amori approaches Killua. He asks Killua to give his badge and he won't hurt him if he does. Killua replies by insulting him. Amori then kicks him and sends him flying backward. However, Killua gets up quickly and takes out Amori's badge from his pocket. Realizing that it is not his target, he asks the older brothers if his target is one of them. Amori and Yumori realize that they are not dealing with an ordinary kid. They tell the youngest brother to get information. Meanwhile, Hanzo is seen watching from the shadows that a fight is about to begin. Before the Amori brothers can make a move, Killua flies and suddenly appears behind Amori, taking him as a hostage. Upon realizing that Amori is not his target, he asks Yumori to hand over his badge. After he receives it, he throws the other badges hundreds of feet away. Then he bids farewell and vanishes. Hanzo quickly runs for the badge that Killua threw and grabs it. But he ends up having the wrong badge since Killua noticed he was there and quickly swapped the badges before he threw it. Meanwhile, Kurapika and Leorio are seen behind the bushes. They are trying to see if anyone is back at the starting point to catch. Gon suddenly shows up and Leorio explains that they are looking for examinee number 246 Ponzu. Gon offers his help to find her by following her scents since she is known for using drugs that must have a strong odor. After walking for a long time, they finally reach her location. Leorio decides to enter the cave alone while Gon and Kurapika wait outside. Inside the cave, he meets Bourbon and Ponzu. From the outside, Gon and Kurapika hear Leorio's voice and they instantly run into the cave to find Leorio sprawled on the ground with snake bites all over his body. Ponzu explains that they cannot leave the cave because Bourbon had already set a trap. When someone tries to exit, his snakes will attack them. Ponzu reveals that she had already killed Bourbon, meaning they are all trapped inside the cave. Kurapika figures out how Bourbon died by looking at his wounds. Ponzu's target was Bourbon, and she explains their fight involving her bees. Ponzu gives up on her desire for passing the exam and waits for the examiners to rescue her through a tracking device attached to their badges to find their exact locations. However, the three can't afford to wait for the exam to end as poison runs through Leorio's body due to the snake bites. Gon decides to fearlessly sacrifice himself in order to search Bourbon to find an antidote. The snakes from Bourbon surround him and attack him, but he successfully finds the medicine. Due to Gon's courageous act, both he and Leorio are saved. Gon recovers quickly and asks Ponzu about her sleeping gas to make all the snakes sleep so they can escape the cave. He requests a trade with Bourbon's badge, which he got along with the medicine, in exchange for her sleeping gas. Ponzu agrees, but it will take 5 minutes for all the snakes to fall asleep, stating it is impossible for someone to hold their breath for more than 5 minutes. However, Gon brags about his record. The gas is released and Gon holds his breath to stay awake. Gon carries all three of them outside and successfully escapes the cave. He gives Bourbon's badge to Ponzu, but takes her own badge for a service fee while she is still unconscious. As Kurapika, Leorio, and Gon each have 6 points of their own, and the fourth phase of the Hunter exam ends, all the participants who pass are taken to their next destination. The chairman, along with all the examiners, discuss the final phase of the exam and the chairman wants them to go through a peculiar fight. But before that, the chairman holds an interview with each examinee and asks them who they'd want to fight and who they would not want to fight. Each of them gives an answer, and after the interview, the chairman reveals the bracket to the examiners and tells them that a single win will make the applicants a hunter. The 9 remaining applicants arrive when the final phase of the exam is held. The chairman explains to them that in order to pass, they only need 1 win and the losers will move up the bracket until 1 applicant fails. This way, there will be 8 new hunters, and 1 that will not pass. After the chairman completes his explanation about their performances and the rules on winning, the final phase begins, the first match being between Gon and Hanzo. As soon as the fight starts, Gon makes his move, but Hanzo anticipates it and Gon is staggered from a hit. Hanzo tells Gon about his situation and asks him to give up, but Gon refuses as Hanzo continues to strike him. He tries to convince Gon again to surrender, but Gon was still determined to keep up with the fight while Hanzo continues to strike. Leorio was beginning to lose his temper and warns Hanzo he'll kill him and will take Gon's place instead. However, because of the rules, Hanzo is not doing anything wrong and Gon will be the one disqualified if Leorio interferes. Gon refuses to give up, leaving Hanzo no other choice but to break his arm, making Leorio and Kurapika enraged. Gon soon gathers the strength to kick Hanzo in the face. However, Hanzo recovers and pulls out a sharp weapon from his sleeve and warns Gon that he'll cut his legs off if he doesn't surrender. But Gon tries to outsmart him by saying that it will be disadvantageous for both of them as Gon will die due to excessive bleeding, thus disqualifying Hanzo. But Hanzo outsmarts him back, saying that therefore he just needs to apply again next year. Hanzo gets serious and tells Gon that he will kill him and will just take the exam next year as he stabs Gon in the forehead. Gon speaks about his father, that he is a hunter and one day he will find him, but if he gives up now, he may never find him. On seeing the unwavering determination in Gon's eyes, Hanzo concedes defeat, making Gon the winner of their match. However, Gon refuses to accept the way he won and keeps pestering Hanzo about his decision. Out of utter annoyance, Hanzo delivers a hard punch, knocking Gon unconscious. Gon is the first applicant to pass the 287th Hunter exam. Gon awakes from sleep with Sadat sitting beside his bed. Sadat congratulates Gon on passing the Hunter exam through a handshake, but Gon is not content on the results and declines. Sadat explains to him that he already passed the exam and can no longer fail. He presents the Hunter license, adding that whatever he wants to do with it, it's up to him and his decision. After hearing this explanation, Gon accepts the Hunter license and finally shakes Sadat's hand. Sadat tells Gon that the exam is over and tells him that the one who failed was Killua. Gon is eager to know the cause of Killua's failure, and Sadat tells him about all the matches held after his fight with Hanzo. After revealing the applicants who passed and how each match unfolded, Sadat tells Gon what happened in the match between Killua and Gitarakor. Learning that Gitarakor is actually his older brother Illumi, Killua was shocked as Illumi told him he's not fit to be a hunter, but an assassin. Killua told his brother that he doesn't care about having a license and that he just wants to be friends with Gon. Upon hearing that, Illumi intended to kill Gon, for he will only be a hindrance to Killua on his path to becoming a full-time assassin. Illumi then walked toward the exit to go to the room where Gon was resting, but Hanzo, Kurapika, and Leorio stood up in front of the door to stop Illumi. He approached his brother Killua and asked if he wanted to continue the match. Killua surrendered in fear of his brother and the situation of his friend. After Illumi won, he told him that he was just lying about killing Gon. Afterward, the match of Botaro and Leorio took place. Killua suddenly appeared behind Botaro and killed him, resulting in his disqualification and failure of the exam. Knowing this, Gon goes to the place where the others are having brief lessons about being a hunter and confronts Illumi, telling him he doesn't have the right to be Killua's brother. He grabs Illumi's right arm and breaks it. Instead of apologizing, Gon convinces Illumi to tell him where Killua is. Kurapika explains that Killua had been acting differently during his match. He believes that Illumi hypnotized Killua into killing others. Netero tells them that these are mere speculations and there were no clear signs of manipulation. Illumi tries to touch Gon, but he becomes wary and backs away. After that, Netero declares the 7 examinees to be hunters. Outside, Gon confronts Illumi again. He continues to ask the Zoldyck to tell him where Killua is. Illumi finally gives in and tells them that Killua is back home at Kyukiru Mountain. After Gon and his friends leave, Hisoka appears behind Illumi. All locals know where Zoldyck is, so there's no harm if Gon knows it as well. Illumi now knows that Gon has incredible potential. That's why Hisoka waits for him to grow up, but that makes him more dangerous. Illumi thinks of killing Gon, but Hisoka warns him. If Illumi touches Gon, he will face the consequences. Sadat gives Gon his hunter license and tells him a story about a hunter he used to know who would discover long-forgotten ruins. He tells Gon that this extraordinary hunter was Jing, and even he tried to find him, but couldn't. He longs to become a hunter as amazing as Jing, and this makes Gon feel very good, and he even blushes. Inside the building, Kurapika searches for Kyukiru Mountain, finding that it is 3,722 meters high and located in the Republic of Padokia. Later that day, they set off to Killua's home and rescue him. The three gather information and ride a tour bus. While traveling, Coco Lu describes Kyukiru Mountain and comments it's the home of Zoldyck family. Upon arriving at the front gate, which is also known as the Gate to Hades, Coco informs them that in order to enter they must pass through the small door beside the security checkpoint, adding that for all the people who entered, none came out alive. Hearing this, two punks taunt the guard who hands them the key and they enter through the small door, claiming they'll get a reward for taking pictures of the Zoldycks. Not long after, a huge furry hand throws their corpses outside the wall. All the tourists and Coco run in terror except for Gon. Kurapika, and Leorio, who are introduced to Zebro. They learn that a beast named Mike kills intruders who enter beyond the gate and only follows orders from the Zoldyck family. Zebro refuses to give the key to them to prevent them all from getting killed by Mike. Because of Kurapika, the group learns that Zebro isn't really a guard, but a cleaner of Mike's messes, and the real entrance is the huge gate, also known as the testing gate, and entering through this gate will avoid Mike from attacking them. Leorio tries to open the gate with all his strength but fails. After Leorio, Zebro demonstrates his strength and opens the first door that weighs 2 tons. Gon, realizing he doesn't have the strength to open the door, insists on borrowing the key from Zebro even though Kurapika and Leorio warn him against doing so. He won't listen, so Zebro speaks to one of the butlers by phone and lets Gon speak to him, but the butler refuses to believe them and hangs up the phone. Frustrated, Gon decides to climb the door using his fishing rod. His friends try to stop him, but Gon is too stubborn and won't give up. Zebro steps in once again and decides to accompany the 3 inside the huge door. Upon entering through the door, Zebro calls on Mike. Seeing Mike's appearance, the 3 seem powerless and scared. In spite of that, Gon insists on meeting Killua and having Zebro guide the way. They are then taken to the servants' quarters to stay there for a while. They meet Sequin, a servant of the Zoldyck family. After receiving insults from Sequin, they are more determined to open the testing gate using their own strength. Zebro states that it will be possible with a little training. They agree to train and immediately start training. To their surprise, everything is weighed down an incredible amount of pounds, even an ordinary cup. Meanwhile, Kikayo and Kaluto visit Killua in his cell while he is being tortured by Milky. His mother informs him that his friends are trying to open the gates and is convinced that they will fail at opening the gate, while Killua says otherwise. After days of hard training, Gon, Kurapika, and Leorio successfully open the testing gate. Zebro points towards the mountain, which is the way to the mansion, and they head towards it. While walking, the 3 are stopped by a girl named Canary, the butler's apprentice. She draws a line across the way, and if any of them cross it, she will beat them up. Gon makes countless tries, but to no avail. Canary wonders why he lets himself get beaten like that. Gon says to Canary that he just wants to see Killua. Canary is finally convinced after hearing Gon, and as she pleads him to help Killua, she is knocked out by Killua's mother, who is watching from the bushes with Kaluto. She thinks Canary has insulted the entire Zoldyck family. Kikayo then sees Gon and instantly recognizes him as Illumi told her about him. She delivers a message from Killua, telling them that he can't see them right now. Gon, Kurapika, and Leorio tend to an unconscious Canary. Meanwhile, Killua gets whipped by his older brother Milky. He accuses Killua of being too arrogant, and Killua apologizes for stabbing his brother during his escape. The torture is cut short when Kikayo calls Milky's phone, telling him that Killua's friends are near the butler's office. Milky mocks Killua by asking their mother to drive them away. Killua pulls one of his chains and threatens to kill Milky if they even touch his friends. Kikayo introduces herself and Kaluto. Gon asks why Killua can't see them, and Kikayo replies that Killua entered solitary confinement on his own will. She suddenly begins talking to herself in haste and in worry. Zeno enters the solitary confinement and tells Killua that he can leave. He easily breaks off the chains and tells Milky that he is not sorry, but he does feel bad about stabbing him. Before Killua could leave, Zeno added that his father Silva wants to see him. Milky throws a fit and accuses Zeno of spoiling Killua. He begins to praise himself and nag about his latest invention, a bomb-carrying mosquito that will explode once the mosquito bites its target. Kikayo continues talking and eventually excuses herself. Gon asks her to tell Killua that they will stay. Canary awakens and volunteers to take them to the butler's office, where there is a phone which can contact the family. Silva proceeds to talk to Killua, asking what sort of people his friends are. They talk to each other while Kikayo comes running back home. Silva asks Killua if he wants to see his friends. He explains that he and Killua are different and he didn't realize that until his son ran away. And so, he asks Killua one more time if he wants to see his friends. Killua says yes, and Silva makes a deal with him: never betray his friends. He sets Killua free, but Kikayo stands in his way, saying that Gon, Kurapika, and Leorio already left. Killua dismisses his mother and leaves her, being proud of him for glaring at her and feeling his killing intent. Kikayo confronts Silva in his room and blames him for setting Killua free when he is finally home. Silva believes that he will come home one day because Killua is his son. And this was the end of part 3. Like always, the links for the next parts will be pinned in the comment section. Be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to not miss the next part.